Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors, the and apostles, a great millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And shout out to the Akians out there in the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Rocket the Yahweh, Rocket the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, Rakatum. So, we're at the end of another week, and, you know, like everything else though, man, we're watching the times, and, of course, highlights of the week was when Zelensky actually showed up in Pennsylvania this week, and then was autographing some missiles. Yeah, some missiles were autographed because they plan to use these long-range weapons against Russia. And that Zelensky says the only way for an actual peace would be for Putin to totally surrender. Well, you know that's not going to happen. So, you know, ramp-ups, right? You know, wars, rumors of wars. Well, you know that there's famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. You hear about that all the time, too. You know, as we know that everything's a manufactured famine. Hey, those, you know, up above, you know, are the ones behind everything. But who drives Esau to do these things? Who's the mastermind behind Esau? Well, that'd be Yahweh himself, you see. Because like everything else, though, you know, this dwelling place, Babylon, because it's been a dwelling place, you know, and many still want to live in Babylon, you know, that's those that dwell upon the earth, right? You know, but this devil, because the Most High is stirring Esau up, right? Just like he's stirring up the Medes and the Persians, right? You know, he's stirring Esau up, you know. Hey, you know, it's a time, because Esau has to come to an end, because otherwise there would be no man saved. I mean, look at all the wickedness that's here, that's celebrated here, you know. We're going into fucking October month, you know, and you know what wickedness that Esau celebrates, you know. All Hallows Eve, you know, that's coming up, you know. But then, and you know the winter equinox, you know, they just do some of the really evil, sadistic rituals, right? But yet, you know, we the elect, man, we hear alarms, man, and we sound them, man. You know, we echo the alarms because we know that this devil knows that he has but a short time. And like everything else, though, they're now planning for a mass casualty event, you know, as this clip goes into, right? You know, and Lisa Haven's another truther that's out there, and it's like, yeah, they're planning a mass casualty event. So another false flag, maybe another, or an actual Trump assassination, or just pretty much like January 6th event, you know, where there's mass casualties, open fire, guns, all that shit, you know, manufactured events. Yeah, they're planning something big, because that's just it, though, is that you see the Most High is stirring it up. He's stirring up the 1% to come against the 99%, which is the whole world, right? You know, which really brings us into Revelation chapter 12. But we're going to listen to this clip a little bit and then get into this.
Well, Congress must be really worried about something. They are now attempting to put into place a new law just in case of some kind of mass casualty within Congress. Kind of morbid if you really think about it, but hey, I guess you need precautions for everything. Not only that, but James O'Keefe has been detained near the Canadian border. I've got some information to share with you on all of that today, but let's start first with this Washington Post article regarding Congress. Scared or scarred by violence, lawmakers plan for possible mass casualty event. Congress must ensure it can continue to govern in the aftermath of mass violence, a bipartisan group of House members argues. Now, this was just very recently published, September 19th, 2024, but the article goes on to state this. Imagine the unthinkable, a mass casualty shooting of members of Congress that leaves a large swath of the country unrepresented and shifts the balance of political power in Washington. In the current political environment, such an outbreak of violence is not as unthinkable as it used to be, according to a bipartisan...
So there you have it, though, that they're planning for this event. And so that tells me that they're planning either another January 6th or possibly an actual assassination of Donald J. Trump. Made to look like, because like everything else, though, they have their playbook, right? Well, who do you think hands Esau the master playbook? Who puts it into Esau to do these things, right? So you can just pretty much, look at that. The Most High is determined to bring Esau down. And like everything else, though, we're in the midst of that determination. Most High is determined to have the Israelites rule the earth once again, meaning that he's going to gather his elect, and he's going to destroy this place once and for all. But like everything else, he's also preparing us, right? Which is why we're going out here and sounding the alarm, right? Getting everyone else prepared for what's about to take place. And that's why we go into the cities, into the conquest of people, to bring out this word, the word of Yahweh Shai, And hey, you could usually catch a brother every single day going out there and teaching, And it's because the Most High has woken up his elect. And the elect are going out there, reaching the final members of the elect, We don't know who that final member is going to be, but we know that once it's done, Most High is going to sound an alarm. And we can see that we're getting closer and closer to prophecy being fulfilled. Now, like everything else, though, Zelensky made some very interesting remarks this week, as you knew that he would, but also Putin has countered those remarks, and said, look, man, again, he's given warning over and over again that, the idea of using smaller tactical nukes is there, tactical nuclear weapons, especially if long-range weapons are launched into Russia, which, Zelensky, having those autographed long-range missiles being signed this week in Pennsylvania is just a show of display. So Putin's like, okay, I'm going to raise the alarm a little bit more. As this other video goes into, another insider, Dabu 7, man, we're watching the times, we're measuring the time diligently in and of itself. Because like everything else, we definitely see that, indeed, that they do plan. So, hold on a second. Got a stupid ad.
This is Dabu 7. We have some statements being released by Russia in regards to being attacked by NATO and other countries out here on this world stage. And they're saying at this point that they reserve the right to use nuclear force or nuclear weapons if they are attacked by anyone at this point, pretty much. They're saying that if someone that doesn't have nukes but is being backed by someone that does have nukes attacks them, they're going to consider them the same. So any weaponry being brought into Ukraine, being used there, drones, the missiles, anything being used to attack Russia, whatever country is supplying them, those countries are fair game at this point, meaning that they could be hit at any moment. We have attacked multiple places deep inside Russia at this point, and if it continues, they're saying they're not ruling out using nuclear weapons in response. And not only if they're attacked, but also if Belarus is attacked. So they're making this very clear. Now, we also have NATO coming out and stating that they're preparing this big plan for a huge number of casualties in the event of World War III with Russia here. And they're admitting that...
So they're admitting that World War III is inevitable. And like everything else, yeah, you could say that Ukraine is a part of it, but the main part of it's going to be fought there in that valley. As at least the flock draws everyone in. And boy, there's been a lot of events lately of, the least the flock drawing everyone in, right? Because we measure the times diligently in and of itself. So like everything else, we can see clearly because we've been given insight. A prophet is going to be able to see things for what they are. So here we go. Pretty much, though, well, we know that NATO, because another term of the beast is also the dragon, right? Revelation chapter 12, verse 13. And when the dragon was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. What's that talking about? Well, that's talking about the Israelites, right? So he's going to come down, right? drop it back to verse 12. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them, meaning the elect. You know, he has a remnant that's going to be rejoicing in the heavens, meaning that we're going to be focused in on prophecy while everyone else is going to be looking to their wallets. They're going to be looking to this kingdom. They're going to be looking, for everything else. They don't know that everything's about to change. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Who's that talking about? Well, that's talking about the governing power of Esau Edom. Because they only got a short time now to pretty much, cause the mass mass inoculations. You could say that. You could say mass, because boy, have they been coming out with a lot of things. They're still planning disease X, and that it may or may not be monkey butt. But they're still planning to make sure that everything's up to date. But they want a digital ID for everyone. Eventually they want a micro C-hip to check everyone. And as you know, Bluetooth has been very much tied into these inoculations. Which you can't really talk about too much on YouTube, but you could talk about on the other channels, right? Well, I always suspected that something was happening, right? And it just confirmed suspicious. But I said it. I said it even before the inoculations came out that indeed that this would be like a C-hip, because actually I didn't say it. Donald J. Trump said it. But we knew that okay, that wasn't just a slip of the tongue. Yeah, because they again, their tongue will fall on them, right? Because Donald J. Trump gives you a lot of clues here and there, because remember, he's a proud man. So he gives you a lot of clues that it's like a C-hip, So, again, what they do? Well, they lock down the world, right? Under this, what we now know is a fraud, right? Hey, these leaders that enforce them lockdowns, man, they've been getting caught on camera and been exposed. That's like, well, they had orgies and they had all kinds of shit going on. We know Newsom was definitely guilty of that. Was having mass parties and just, didn't have to lock down, didn't have to abide by the guidelines that he gave everyone else. And, I got another congressman that's caught the same way. Either a senator or congressman, but a New York man was just recently caught. So, hey, as they say, got caught red-handed, right? Well, who's the red man, right? Who came out red? Well, that's Esau. So Esau's been caught red-handed. It goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Because this man's a liar, and he's been proved to be a liar. Neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desire as hell, right? Which basically means that, he pretty much has gone out into the world and pretty much been seeking to devour whoever he could, right? To, in other words, enforce his rule of law, if you will. Hey, they already did it with the coronavirus hoax, right? They had a worldwide lockdown. So you can very much see that, indeed, the World Health Organization is exactly that. World, meaning that, okay, he's already been in power of the rule of the world. Now you're starting to see that there really are no individual countries fighting against him, that he controls it all. Every country in the world had a lockdown in 2020. Hey, you can talk about the other side that you think is fighting against the New World Order. Syria, Iran, Iraq, Russia, they all had lockdowns over this hoax, because it was an entire hoax, But you couldn't really say too much about that back then. Now you're allowed a little, but not that much, because, again, they are really censoring everything, right? Global ID, right? You had to prove that you were inoculated to even enter in many things, and many people caved into the pressure and went and got themselves inoculated, and we can see the results of that. So if they could get people to do that just for that, imagine how much more when you'll need a digital ID in order to do anything, right? You will have to have a digital identity. They're getting rid of driver's licenses. Okay, yeah, okay, a lot of states still have the regular driver's licenses. For right now, it's optional, but eventually they're all going to be digital driver's licenses. Already 2 states have adopted it, and I definitely have heard that California, that they have the digital driver's license. It's optional right now, but eventually, well, look at what happened with Real ID. Now you have to have a real ID, or you get restrictions on your ID, right? It'll say non-compliant if you don't get a real ID, which is just proving extra proof of the birth certificate, right? This is the only place that asks for a birth certificate, but either way, though, you have to have digital identification. What do you think ID 2020 was all about? What do you think 2020 was about, right? Was showing proof, right? It was a census year on top of that, so you had to show proof of everything, right? Proof of inoculation, proof of, to even enter therein. So they really are going to push this digital identity. And this Project 2025, yeah, those in higher places. Now, Donald J. Trump says that he knows nothing about Project 2025, but that doesn't matter whether he does or doesn't, right? Because Donald J. Trump is just the spokesperson, but he's not really the one running everything. He has to work with the others that are really running everything. In other words, he has handlers. So he may not have knowledge of Project 2025, but I can guarantee you he's in on it. Just like all these shootings and everything, because again, he always says that Iran, instead of Russia now Iran is interfering with the elections, and then just giving the election playbook to the Democrats. I mean, the shit show, this teeter-totter between Republicans and Democrats, when they're both pretty much two sides of the same coin. See, we get it. Most other people are still in a trance and thinking that, okay, well, if this person gets in, then everything's going to be great. America will be made great again. It's never going to be great like it was. Now it's starting to become, well, it's been pretty much a third world country. Just the people over here haven't realized it because they have the illusion of the fiat currency. Even though, inflations are high and everything, that's just the beginning of things, the beginning of woes. Yeah, they claim that there's that America's not at war with anyone. You really believe that? You believe what Harris says or that what Biden says that America's not at war with anyone, when his troops are all over the world, right? And pretty much so. Who's instigating these wars? Israeli state. Now you got full-blown wars between Gaza and Lebanon. It's not just about Gaza anymore. And Erdogan of Turkey is saying, look, man, if we don't do something to stop the Israeli state, we're all under threat, especially if Lebanon falls. If Hezbollah falls, it's a direct war between Iran and the Israeli state. And that's going to draw everyone in, so you can see how much closer that is. Because again, Israeli state has already moved in their ground forces and is already wiping out places in Lebanon, trying to make it desolate. It's starting to look a little bit like Gaza, Now, will they be able to get away with a full-blown invasion? No, I believe Syria will actually intervene, because Syria is the closest place. But I believe Gomer and all his bands and, are going to help Syria. See, Erdogan and Bashar al-Assad are actually talking now, for the first time in a long time. Because, again, Turkey has played both sides of the coin. But when it comes to the Israeli state, man, they are pretty much in solidarity with all the others in the region. They're saying the Israeli state is a threat to everyone. So the least the flock is drawing everyone in, right? Mostly drawing Babylon in. Because, again, the Israeli state has to be safeguarded by the U.S., because if it wasn't, you don't think for one second that Syria, Iran, Saudi Arabia, all those places wouldn't go in? Think about that, though. So, of course, they're safeguarded by Babylon. Babylon always taunts the warships, but even Biden's told Benjamin, not a Jew, that, we can only stay there for so long, that you have to make your attacks. So that's what's happening now, is Lebanon is now being attacked. Because let's face it, they pretty much wiped out the Gaza Strip. They have enforced their, security, which is really, their troops. They have their troops, and they are safeguarding everything, right? So the Israeli state has pretty much taken over Gaza, which they plan to do the same with Lebanon. Look at what they did to the Golan Heights of Syria. So Syria knows that this is a threat, and so does Turkey. You see how they're drawing everybody in, and that there's going to be a big war, and eventually the Israeli state to, fight this big war. Well, they can't. They couldn't win anyways, especially if Syria moved its troops in. Why do you think Damascus is going to be taken out? Think about that, though, that Syria would actually win, you know, if it was just, and we're not even talking about nuclear weapons, but we're just talking about the troops, man. Syria has enough troops to go in. But yet, at the same time, though, you know that they're safeguarded, right? That Babylon will get involved with it. So that's why Syria really never got back Golan Heights. I mean, Golan Heights was stolen from them a long time ago, you know. But either way, though, what is going to happen is you already know about the Samson option. The Israeli state, when it sees that it's surrounded, you know, this is after the micro-CHIP is made mandatory through the digital ID system. All this is ramping up. See, we've been sounding the alarm on this for years. Apostle Tahar has been sounding the alarm even longer than, you know, guys like me have, you know, others like me have, you know, because guess what? We heard it from Apostle Tahar and the apostles on down, you know, so we've been hearing it for a long time, you know, and it all makes perfect sense. See, when you know, you're really hearing from the Most High and He's supping with you, when Yahushua is supping with you, man, you hear things, you know, Rakah Kadash, which is His Spirit, is given to you. You understand things, and you know that the things that He spoke about is not too far. You know, it doesn't look so distant, you know, doesn't seem so far away anymore. It's getting closer and closer, because all the things that He spoke of, the wickedness would grow increasingly great. I mean, this place is Sodom and Egypt spiritually. That is a given, you know, as to the things that go on here on a daily basis. So we're complaining continually, you know, because we have grievances against this place, you know, but 2/3 of our people, man, they want to dwell here, right? They want to make this their melting pot. That's what Babylon is, you know. Lady of kingdoms, you know, the whore, you know, which sitteth on great waters, man, you know, aka, you know, rules over the world, you know. So like everything else, though, we know that, you know, it has an expiration date, and we're near the end of that expiration date, you know. But like everything else, though, you know, they want to see their new world order come down, you know, and they're going to make it mandatory very soon, you know. Yeah, we've been saying that for a long time, but think about this long time, but yet not so long now. Yeah, we've been saying it for years, but yet has the beast not been speaking? The 2 horns like a lamb but speaks as a dragon, has that not been in fruition, right? You know, you have the 2 systems, right? You have the Democrats, the Republicans, the conservatives, the liberals, you know. Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You know, whoever doesn't go along with their new world order would just be wiped out, right? Think about it, though. They enforced laws during the lockdowns of 2020. You think that this mass chipping event, they're not going to enforce lockdowns? Of course they do. Of course they will. And He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, which really is talking about implant. A mark means to be implanted with something, injected. Sound familiar? Did that not just happen in 2020? Very similarly, but this happens to be part of your digital ID. That was just a prelude to what's about to take place. Because you could still buy or sell during 2020. Yeah, you still could. So that wasn't it. But it's going to become to a point that you will not be able to buy or sell. Well, what can do this? Well, if cash is done away with, and you see that a lot of things are just running by, for right now you can still use cash and coins in a good portion of places, but eventually they're going to be replaced by the newer system. And that's all coming out. That no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You know, so pretty much, though, if you do not have that implant, you're not going to be able to use that digital money, that digital wallet. You see, Nancy Pelosi in 2020 gave you a clue that they wanted a digital wallet in order to receive stimulus. And universal basic incomes, well, everybody was locked down, so they needed that universal basic income. People were out of jobs. You know, the stimulus check of $2,000, then a couple other ones, another $1,200. Some people got a state check here. I didn't get a state check, but others I know did. Well, you know, pretty much though, did that really make up to anybody that lost their job if they weren't on disability? But a lot of people did have to apply for disability, for SSI, which is part of that universal basic income system. You know, hey, what are they going to do when it becomes digital? Look at what happened when food stamps became digital, when it became an EBT. See, that was all part of getting everything to become digital. So yeah, you have a couple old food stamps, you know, which I still happen to have a couple ones from 1996. They ain't no good anymore. Ain't nobody taking no cash, no food stamp cash. Well, that's the same thing that's going to happen to the fiat currency. Your George Washington Bills, your Abraham Lincoln, your Hamilton. Yeah, Esau has his face on everything, right? Well, those ain't going to be good anymore either. Nobody will be able to accept cash. I mean, Brazil and other countries, Venezuela, they pretty much eliminated cash. China has eliminated cash. Only older people use it, but everybody got used to that system. Because like everything else, though, you know, well, it's faster, it's convenient, right? You know, they just haven't convinced everybody of it being faster and convenient. You still have a lot of old fogies here that pretty much don't think it's fast and convenient, because guess what? Everything digital, well, what about bad internet coverage, right? What if you do live in smaller towns? You know, well, they did install a lot of 5G towers, etc., right? You see, this is going to be worldwide. But you're going to have an implant. You're going to have to be connected to those towers. Well, that's what 2020 was building the perfect beast. You know, that was another song that was actually pretty popular by Don Henley. Building the perfect beast. What's that talking about? The perfect system. You know? Hey, you know, it was real easy to figure out what that system is. You know, to everything, where they control everything, right? And they want everybody to be implanted. Well, the beast, the dragon, you know, that speaks is going to cause everyone to have a digital implant. And that implant is the MOTB, which that is the one that, as they say, will send you straight to hell. Okay, we're in hell, but with the lake of fire, because a lot of people compare hell to the lake of fire. Even though this place of death and hell will be cast into the lake of fire. What does that mean? In other words, it'll be obliterated. Because, yeah, there's death and there's hell all around here, right? But pretty much so, cast alive in the lake of fire. Well, what's that talk about? Well, you know, you got to pay attention to certain words, because it tells you that they were cast alive in the lake of fire, meaning the beast and the false prophet, right? The false religious system, which we already know is the Roman Catholic Church and all the branches thereof. Yeah, that system. And we have definitely blown the lid off of plantation Christianity, and not just Caesar Borgia, but just all the things that were taught. You know, we've blown the lid off of that. We were like, no, he had a Hebrew name. The Hebrew name never changed, you know. And that these letters were written to the Hebrew Israelites, not for the entire world, because the word world, you know, is twofold. Yeah, world can also mean people, right? To a certain group. So these letters were written to the Israelites, better known as the Bible. It wasn't written to the entire world, plural, you know. And we've been breaking it down for quite some time. But you see, like everything else, so the false prophet deceived everyone, right? Deceived everyone into taking the microchip. Hey, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, is telling everybody to go ahead and, you know, the Vatican, they're making people get themselves implanted. Yeah. So if the Vatican's already doing it, well, you can see the lineup, right? But like everything else, though, we've been warning you that this system eventually is going to be in place. Well, it kind of already is. They just haven't made it mandatory yet. But eventually they're going to want to implant everyone, you know, because the end goal is to have everyone chipped. That's what Aaron Russo said to Alex Jones years ago, right? You know, hey, we knew what that meant. You know, that they want a device to be implanted in everyone. You know, even Joe Biden had made that speech years ago, that can a microscopic tag be used to track someone's every movement? And you will rule on that, mark my words. And they even slipped it into the Obamacare bill. You know, so it's always been there. It's been written there. But They just haven't made it mandatory as of yet, but they will very soon, because you see that they're planning for a mass casualty event. So another false flag, and then they're planning, of course, to bring down the system. I think it's going to be a combination of all those things, right? That the money's going to be no good anymore. Well, that's going to cause outrage, right? That's going to cause mass casualties. Well, another assassination, an actual assassination, yeah, that caused mass casualties, right? Rioting, etc. Because, yeah, things are going to get chaotic out of here. But like everything else, though, we've been warning you for a long time not to take that implant. That implant is the MOTB. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, which is pretty much, gets down with the system, right? And receives his mark in their forehead or in their hands, those, the forehead, it's dealing with Neuralink and other devices like that, right? But it's still an implant, just like the one in the hand. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And what's that talking about? Well, it gives you further details. What the cup of wrath of his indignation is, which is really nuclear war. That cup of wrath is talking about, a fire that issues out of the hypersonic missiles, especially in Revelation chapter 9, it talks about that. Which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Meaning that Yahushua will be here gathering his elect, but also punishing this place. And the smoke of their torment is sendeth up forever and ever. Forever and ever means that being cast alive in that lake of fire. In other words, you don't die in the nuclear fire, but you're tormented over and over again. You know how they say you die 1,000 deaths? Yeah, the Most High is looking to seek and destroy this place, man. And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. And we have gone heavily on this, telling you what it is. That's an implant, that you will have to receive. Your digital identity, your digital wallet. You will not be able to buy or sell without it. And that's what's coming. And we see that. We've been warning of that for quite some time. Apostle Tahar has been a warning about it for the longest, and this is part of the division between One West, those that started to teach doctrines of devils. Apostle Tahar stayed on the straight path and still taught that the micro C-hip is the MOTB. You see, while others strayed away, there was that remnant, the elect that did not, and yet look at what's come out of Great Millstone. Guys like me who are Israelite foreigners came out of that, right? Hey, Great Millstone has been used to get this word out, because we're the only ones that have prophets in almost every country in the world that have really gotten this word out. It has been Great Millstone. Everything's been tied down to Great Millstone. The elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And it's been shouted very much so. So hopefully this has been edifying. This is exciting because, the members of the elect, we believe that they have been reached, because look at how far Great Millstone has grown. Yeah, you got your false prophets out there, but not as in great numbers like Great Millstone. So hopefully this has been edifying. For that, I want to say, Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh, Wa Abal Babal, Brakathum, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.